Daria. You brought so many points that are relevant. You even mentioned how weird the model of the kick is, how weird this cultural and creative sectors is going to fit into that. But we have to embrace that diversity. We have to embrace that change to achieve acceleration, transformation, and meet all these targets. Because innovation, we are all for innovation, but not at any cost. We need to see that this innovation is good for the people and good for the planet. We need to find the sweet spot in between. And now, I'm going to present you the man of the day, Bernd Fesel, CEO of EIT Culture and Creativity. I have to say, I'm not sure if you are aware, but today, the European Culture and Creativity Days in Barcelona is the last of 6 events. And Bernd has been roaming along with Benjamin throughout Europe, all 6 collocation centers spreading the word of EIT culture and creativity. I'm sure you have a lot of anecdotes, a lot of stories, and a lot of airport hours. But please be welcome, Bernd. At this point, I'm sure you already know him, but please allow me to say that Bernd has experience of over 30 years in cultural and creative industry. Before being the CEO of EIT Culture and Creativity, he was a serial entrepreneur in the sector and had a role as director of the European Creative Business Network. He was vice director of the European Capital of Culture in the Ruhr region. So he has very much this double angle of entrepreneurship and also social development and urban development, and senior advisor to the Legacy Institute of Ruhr 2010 until 2018. So, warm welcome to Bernd.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure being here, and as much as I always agree with my communications chief, Patricia, I have to completely disagree now. It's not the last meeting, it's the final one. It's the final one of having this Culture and Creativity Days. And I really have to say humbly my great thanks for your commitment, I heard, from the national government, but also from Eurecat, from the region, from all our partners here, saying that you want to make this co-location center a benchmark in Europe, and this is exactly the ambition of partners we're looking for. So I'm really grateful to hear that and to start this presentation. And some of you have heard this presentation without any doubt, and I was always already wondering if I preach to the converted, as you all know what a kick is. I'm more humble, I'm learning how a kick works, and the big elephant here in the room is the EIT itself. The EIT has been really instrumental in helping us to make this startup year. They have a team of 4 to 5 colleagues which are coaching us, guiding us, helping us. We have some 40 deliverables this year. We are setting up not only this co-location center, but also 5 other legal entities, hiring about 30 employees, having our own office. You see us here really standing as a startup, wiggling all the balls in the air. And it should say EIT Culture and Creativity in the making. So what are we making? We are making an innovation ecosystem on this transformative journey, which Daria already pointed to. The widest setting is really the decision of the European Union in 2019 to be a carbon neutral continent by 2050. And by this, whole Europe has been under transition. Many sectors are, and also ours. So this is the wider set we are working in. And if there is one sentence to remember from all the details I will now present to you, it is really that this innovation community works like a one-stop shop for innovation. You see this here on this slide. On the top, it is our first stop of innovating education, of bringing entrepreneurial thinking, but also technology skills, but also creating new masters for skills we need maybe in 5 years. And the challenge is we don't even know those jobs coming up. If you think of ChatGPT, how it disrupted our value chains, there will be more of this to come. So future-proofing talents is the first stop. The second one is creating growth. and have a really responsible growth, you heard on that already today, but also have a dynamic business ecosystem which is able to scale. And here, important to see that this innovation community is more than another Horizon Europe call. It's more than just another research project. It is taking those researches which have been done, if it's at Tegnalia, Fraunhofer, or even in Horizon Europe in the last 10 years, to market. We really speak about innovations to be implemented, to be taken to market, even to earn turnover within the first 2 years. So at the last conference we had here in Barcelona, the European official told me, look, you are bridging this valley of death, which so many projects are in because they're just projects. We try to take projects and turn them into an entrepreneurial activity. If it's a commercial activity, if it's a non-for-profit initiative, or if it's a civil society and citizen-driven initiative. But it's important entrepreneurial. Last but not least, culture and creativity is also about imagination. You know, thinking about the new future, having the idea what the future looks like is like having the idea for the script of a film, of Avatar. So imagining the future is another stop, drawing on the creative capacity of the individuals in our sector, not only the companies. And last but not least, the very big stop at the end is to also create a kick which is financially sustainable. At the moment, we are financed in our infrastructure costs through the EIT, and in the future, starting 2024, by our members, membership fees. And the idea is in 10 years from here, we will have a different source of income to pay for our own costs. Then we are not any longer a funded project, but a sustainable company. So what we are helping, you know, the sector to be more entrepreneurial applies for us as well. Trying to build, we will build an entrepreneurial organization earning its own costs and then serving the sector. This is our biggest vision. To accelerate this change now towards the green transformation, we focus on those sectors which first of all have a growth perspective for our stakeholders, for the companies, for the entrepreneurs, but at the second time also contributing really to the Green Deal. And one of the biggest things to overcome in Europe is, of course, the throwaway fashion. And that's why we focus to overcome fast fashion. We look into heritage and architecture because it produces some 37% of the whole carbon footprint of Europe. So the whole debate on mobility and cars is really peanuts if you compare it with the construction sector, and we really have to be ashamed that we are so late in that. Last but not least, audiovisual and video games is a growth sector we all know. Not so known is that across the sectors there is no standardization, for example, yet, how to evaluate the carbon footprint, even in gaming. So this is all at the start, and we can help here with standardization and maybe other tools. How do we help? We have 4 pillars. One is innovation and education. The second stop is innovating services and products. If it's for a cultural heritage institution, if it's for a media company, or if it's for a design studio. We also help companies to grow, so to really invest in companies. Last but not least, there is a social dimension of culture, urban regeneration, change of former industrial sites, coal mines, but also to form communities inclusive. Carmen said it at the beginning, it's not only growth. The city of Barcelona is having this example of beauty as a tool to be inclusive and open society. So we also work here on the immaterial side of culture, bringing together communities and allowing our creators to thrive in them. We all do this by open calls. And open does not only mean that those calls are published, but they're also open to the whole community. So it's not the member of a knowledge and innovation community alone who can apply, but everyone who is eligible under the Horizon Europe framework is able to apply. And this is quite a challenge for the partners, for the members we have, because they pay our member fees, they help us to create this institution, but in terms of funding, they are not privileged. They are really in because they have a mission to build an innovation ecosystem. And so we really have to say an innovation ecosystem is an invitation, but obviously it's not for all. Not all companies, not all institutions have this mission. And so it's even more important those who have this mission really receive services in return, but in return helping the wider ecosystem to participate at the fundings we have. Those fundings are EIT grants at the beginning, and then step by step added by commercial funds. And this turns to this investment network. If you look at let's assume 30 million euros we invest in education, in products, in companies, in society, you might have 20 or 40 projects every year. But are those projects making a systemic change? And how do we turn 40 projects into a sustainable ecosystemic change? We believe we have to do this by scaling. You scale, of course, within the ecosystem, partners collaborating, but you also do this by providing more capital to repeat, kind of paste and copy those things which are good. And that's why we are creating an investment network with some 200 investors. However, not only think of business angels or venture capitalists, but also of crowdfunding and the philanthropic partners to really have an investment network which feeds the whole variety of our sectors, from the social initiatives which are impact-driven, which look for non-for-profit funding, to the venture capital funds for companies who want to scale quickly, have an IPO and exit. And both those worlds are within our innovation community, and this investment network is also built for both of those worlds. Last but not least, you scale also by having better frameworks, by having better procurement rules, having better policies. The European Union is a leader in this. They created, for example, a cross-initiative where several committees of the cultural, the industry committee worked together, and also regional planning was involved, a cross-committee initiative to bring together all the different aspects of culture. And you might know this from your own experience. If you go to the cultural department of the city, you might be too entrepreneurial and look too much like a business. If you go to the business department of a city, you look too much cultural. And you're not funded there because you're not a real company. I experienced this at the Culture Capital, where a really famous music club from Berlin wanted to open a branch in Dortmund. And, for the cultural department, this was just a club, not really culture. And, for the economic department, it was just an event and not really, an economic business. And we all know that the event business is one of the strongest in our sector of the culture creative industries. So we want to bridge this gap between policies to frame better holistic policies. And in 2 days from today, this network will meet for the first time in Bilbao. We had an open call, some 40 policymakers are now in, and this will grow over the coming years to several hundred. Last but not least, the story of creators changing the world and having a difference, as Carmen said, and you also said it, making a difference is not new. Others would say this is a few thousand years old and has been doing. So the innovation community we are now building is tapping into a movement, and we also want to honor those who are underway for many decades and take them along in a wider narrative, which we call the next Renaissance, to show where science and culture, art and tech meet. And the iPhone is just one example, new markets, new worlds, better life really come about. So we want to invite you also to join with your story, even if you're not a member, even if you're not funded. Let's have this joint movement of change makers driven by culture and creativity on this platform for the next Renaissance. We have some partners here who will be organizing an exhibition on the next Renaissance. One is at the Goethe Institute in Paris. Another one will be at the Museum Ludwig in Budapest. And I have a vague hope that we can also have a Renaissance exhibition here in Barcelona. that would be great. And I already saw the partner I'm thinking of. So I hope this story of the Renaissance will be also here. So with this invitation to join our calls, but also join our membership, at least join this movement, I want to invite you and hope we can make a kick off today together. Thanks for your attention.
Very much, Bernd. We have catch up with time, and we are waiting for our next speaker to come. So I would like to suggest that we open mics if audience have any questions to any of the presenters and would like to share your minds about what is this kick and what can you bring to this kick from your experience. So anyone wants to break the ice? Okay, let's see. One of the companies, who said that we're from a company? Raise your hands, come on, don't be shy. No, no one. Or from the universities? Okay, I see a hand right there. Is that you, Montse? Yeah. Can someone please bring her a microphone? Okay, there it comes, the microphone. No, here.
Thank you. It's me. So what was the question again, Patricia?
Well, if you had any question to any of the speakers, if you have any questions about what EIT Culture and Creativity is doing, or if you want to share with us what is that your organization can bring to the kick, and why are you sitting here today with us?
I'm trying to get more involved in the EIT cultural industries.
Monte, can you identify yourself, please?
Yeah, sorry,
from where you come?
Monte Cruz from University of Barcelona. And we've been in EIT Health since the beginning, and we wanted to join this one also, but it was so crowded that we couldn't at the beginning, so we tried it with the projects. And I'm really happy to see how you have already taken the learnings from EIT Health and other kicks that are around and are building on the top of that. So I'm really curious how it will evolve, because sustainability is a big issue. We are dealing with that in digital and health and all the other kicks. And it really looks like a big challenge that you are facing, but you really look that you take all the learnings from other kicks and are really on the top of that. So I'm really happy to be here and try to be a member of that community. So I really want to know, how do you address the sustainability issue with the innovation part? I mean, that's a really hard point for all the kicks that are alive. Some of them have been lucky and they had unicorns on their startups, but that's not so easy to find out. So can you develop on that? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, maybe for all, again, to understand, sustainability of a kick is defined as earning our own infrastructure costs. So we will have something like 6 to 8 million euros to earn, to pay for the infrastructures, the staff, the marketing, the ecosystem building. And to be hands-on at the beginning, we earn those costs also by member fees, earning, in the first years 1.5 million, 2 million, and over the coming years we will generate some 12 million euros in member fees. So this is the baseline of this, and I think this is kind of the ground you build this on. But sustainability then, in the future, has to build on return of investments, coming out of equity shares, shareholdings we have. And we all know this takes time, and it needs a very informed decision which companies to invest in. There is a risk, You know this from venture capital and from many other investments that you have like a failure rate of 50% or even higher. So having said all this, we designed this year with the help of EIT Energy, with Daria's knowledge from the other KICs, but also from the EIT itself, a system how to reach those companies. And that's why your question, what companies are here, is so relevant for us, because those companies in the culture creative industries are our partners to design not only the entrepreneurship in the ecosystem, but also our own. So we will be having grants for about 20 to maybe 30 companies per year to look into trading this into shareholdings in the future. And so over the years, there might be 200 companies. We are organizing a deal flow every year for hundreds of companies. And here, the co-location centers are really important. There are those nodes where the companies meet and mix and mingle. That's where our investment network will meet those companies and look into matchmaking. So this is a lot of detailed work to organize, and it needs a high-quality team to do so from quarter to quarter. And it's not just having said, we will have a deal flow, we will have money, and we will do the right decisions. It is really about having all the time a focused team and this mindset also to look for this. And yeah, that is a challenge. We are now at the start, but I think we have all the structures in place. We are now hiring our staff. We're, for example, also hiring our directors at the co-location centers, not as grant managers, but we're looking for directors of our centers here which have this entrepreneurial gene, who are looking for opportunities to invest. So from the very start, we say we are not building another grant institution. Yeah, and that is a mindset. And so I think this is the biggest challenge of all, to start with that mindset from the very start and to bring together both of those worlds, the grant making and the investment mindset. And with this, we should, in about 8 years, 7 years, reach our aim of being financially sustainable. So I hope I could give you a little bit insight in the machine room and not just give you, the strategic overview bubble, but really show how we are working in details to deal with these challenges.
We have a question also here, please, the mics. We have 3 questions. The lady with the blue jacket. Thank you.
Hello. I'm from EIT Food. So my question is, how do you plan to work with the other KICs? Because from my experience, we have lots of partner organizations. We have a rich diversity of Europe, but it really is about how we're mixing people together to form this change. And from my perspective of EIT Food, it's very scientific, it's very academic, and that's amazing. I help startups in agri-food and agri-tech commercialize their innovation. I have a creative background, and I'm a big believer that creatives challenge the status quo, have the ability to think differently, and we need to mix these creatives with these scientists and academics. And when I heard that creativity, culture and creativity was coming, it was very exciting. But then I felt, is this another silo? So I really, I would like on the strategic level with the KICs, how are we going to mix creatives with scientists, with all the dynamics that we need to actually make the change? Because right now in EIT Food, it really needs creative help.
Well, I think we are more humble than that, but in fact, yes, creativity cuts across sectors. And we also pitched and said, also here at the co-location center, our colleague Aurea, our director here, is speaking of cross-creativity, to really flag that creativity is going across sectors. In practice, we already started collaborating with EIT Manufacturing and EIT Climate on the topic of overcoming fast fashion. We worked with them and other stakeholders and designed a position paper and outlook and tools, what to do really have an agenda of innovation in fashion with the other KICs. We aligned already with the EIT Digital, not only to collaborate in other co-location centers, but also to answer this question, what happens if deep content meets deep tech? You know, what are future iPhone moments? Because that's what happened there. And we will see new interfaces. Now we're having a handheld, but I'm sure we all agree, you know, maybe in 5 years from now, we will not have a handheld as an interface. There will be new interfaces for digital content. So how do you merge into this new business opportunity, but also opportunity of IP rights of creators in those new selling points? And so, yes, we are working with EIT Digital on that, how to do this. And the same EIT Health, they're also over cutting edges. So yes, we started this quite hand-on and usually make a memo of understanding where we flag certain activities for years to come. But I have to admit, with food, not yet. So thanks that you're here and flagging that, another thing to do. But also to say, while we're having individual initiatives on working level, the EIT itself has a program for cross-KIC cooperation. So the EIT as a structure, maybe for all who are not so knowledgeable, who also encourages that innovation communities work together. Of course, the EIT does not imagine the KICs as silo. And the knowledge triangle in itself is about overcoming silos when you say, you know, education, research, business work together. But just as Daria flagged rightly, you start working in silos. That's often how you are educated, and that's kind of a habit. But this group here shows we are working to overcome it.
We will take one more question.
And I can answer shorter also.
Before we introduce our next speaker, please.
No?
No,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. My name is Monica Nagore. I work as a consultant in social innovation and program management. So I've been working with several organizations in European funded projects, including some projects on culture and creativity. My question is, it's really something to celebrate to have such a powerful instrument to put the culture and creativity industries at the heart of the transformation we need in Europe. You've been talking a lot about the vision in 10 years' time, but my question would be to please give us a vision beyond that. So where do you see the EIT culture and creativity in 20 years' time, when it's already self-sustained for several? So what would be this next step?
Well, my big vision would be, if there is a next ChatGPT, we own it. You know, that's the big take, yeah? That we are upfront of those tech developments. At the moment, we are in the back door. Those things are happening and we are reacting. So if we are really able to use this big tool to collaborate with industries and creators at the forefront, that we are part of those new developments, that we don't wake up in the morning and see it, but we know that it's coming and we are shaping it. That would be our take in 25 years. You could also say, former Commissioner Gabriel said, you know, the cultural stakeholders are the unusual innovators. So I really hope already in 5 years we can say culture creators are just innovators. We are just a natural part of this innovation ecosystem. We are now coming in. And I think this is the greatest thanks we owe to the EIT, that they, you know, put this on the map and said culture creators are innovators. If you look at the definition of the OECD, which frames this globally, you don't find this included. Yeah, and already now, I have to say, partners in our KIC around Nesta and other researchers already started a dialogue with the OECD. How do we update this global definition? So you see there are a lot of balls in the air, and thanks to our partners, we can all handle it.
Thank you, Bernd, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.